Hi, okay, right, today I'm going to show you how to make a cable to use with your DiscDJ software app so that it can be used on an external mixer. You will need a soldering iron. Doesn't have to be like this one, this is a gas one that I like using. A piece of tube, any old tube which you can cut down, but preferably with one end blocked up. You'll see why in a moment. So you need a piece about that long. Okay. A pair of cutters. A meter. An audio lead with a mini jack on the end which will plug into your tablet. Now this one is a cheapy one, I bought it from Poundland. I'm not actually sure how this is going to work because they say it's an audio lead but it's actually not a screened audio lead. So ideally a screened one would be better, and because you won't get any noise from the audio then. But being such a short lead, I think it will probably won't be a problem, but we'll try it and we'll find out. But the colours are totally different as well. Now you would have thought green would have been earth, red would have been the right channel, and blue would have been the left channel, but that is not the case. If I show you on a meter here, let's see. Okay, right. Now, normally, most audio leads, put this lot to one side, the front one, get the camera, that one there, is usually the red lead, which is normally the right channel for an audio lead. And if I touch it, it does actually make the meter move up. So that is actually correct. Now what you would normally think would be the left channel, which is this middle one here, and you've got to keep it between the two black lines, you would normally think would be the left channel, which would be the blue. But that's not the case. It's actually the green lead is what would be the left channel, and the back one, this one here, is actually the earth of the screen, which is actually the blue lead. So keep that in mind. Check that if you buy one of these Poundland so-called audio cables. Right, okay, now that has got to be converted into 4 leads. I will show you why in a minute. Just move that meter up for a minute. Because each channel on the back of the mixer has a left and right. RCA plug. One is usually black, which is the left channel, and red is usually the right channel. Now, because we're going to do these in mono, we need to join the two central parts of these, the two signal, together into one to make it mono. So that is the first task. So what we're going to do, we're going to strip the ends. This is not very well stripped. I'm going to start again, and I'm going to strip the ends. So I shall be right back. Okay, right now, so one thing to make sure, I strip these back, and on each one you have a screen, which one's on the outside, down the whole length of the wire cable, and you have a signal wire. Now you must make sure that you completely make sure that screen is totally isolated from the signal wire. So make sure it's not stuck to the outside of the signal wire. If it shorts out, you won't get any sound. That's really important, okay? Now, you need to carefully strip the outer. So you end up with that. You can see that clearly. And twist them together. So you should now end up with that. Okay. Right. You want to end up with two. One for the left channel and one for the right. Remember, this is channel 1. Which has, right, it's confusing, I know. Well, it's not confusing, but it might be to someone who doesn't know about it. You have a left channel, you have a 2-channel mixer, one for the right deck, one for the left deck, okay? And each one of those, normally, would have 2 channels within that channel, a left and right. But we need to make these into mono because you've only got one signal coming out of your tablet, because the stereo has been split into 2 mono channels. One will be for the headphones and one will be for the output signal from the actual both decks. But in this case, because we're going to a mixer, they've actually put one deck to one channel and one deck to the other channel, which means it only comes out in mono. But because it's going into a mixer, you need to put left and right together, so that also runs in mono. It will all become clear as mud, so you need to strip that off carefully. Okay, so you can see the copper. Alright. So you now end up with what would normally be left and right to go into one channel. Okay. Now, you want to join both left and right together. So you basically end up with that. So that's the red wire and the white wire, which would normally be left and right channel, joined together. So you basically end up with that. Now that is one of your decks. Okay. Now, I showed you this lead earlier. Okay. Now normally, the red wire would be the right channel, and in this case, green would be your left channel, and blue is what would be your screen or your earth common for both channels. Okay, right, what we need to do is we need to join that red wire to these two signal wires that have been joined together, and you will see why in a minute. Remember, this is only one of the decks. Okay, so I'll try and get it in camera. Okay, so now they have become a one. Okay, try and get that a bit clearer there for you. Okay, right now the neutral, the screen has got to go to the screen on those two leads. As I say, it will all become much clearer in a minute. Okay, so that is what you want to be seeing. In a minute we're going to solder them to make sure they don't come apart. Actually, I have made one large error. What I meant to do, first of all, was pass this lead. Right, okay, so we'll disconnect that one for a minute. Right, so we're back there. Need to get my soldering iron going just for a moment. Okay, so take the lock off. Okay, just get it started. It's now locked on. Just wait that to heat up a minute. Shouldn't take long. I have a bit of sponge here, so I'm going to clean the tip with. Heat up a bit. Okay. Right, now what you want to do is make a small hole in the back of this. Just big enough for that cable to go through. As big as it needs to be. Wipe the tip, because we're going to need to be doing some soldering with that. Turn it off for a minute. Okay, now get that lead, one with the mini jack on the end, okay, and pass it through this hole. And what I'll do, that's a bit easier. So let's now pass through that hole. Okay. This is going to become your junction where your four other plugs are going to come off of. So it needs to be protected, this junction, because it will be moved about a lot when you're going doing gigs and that. So it needs to be substantial, otherwise you'll end up with problems. I keep going out of camera shot and I do apologise. Okay, right, where was I? Right, okay, so say red wire on this one has got to join to two signal wires on this particular one. Twist them together. Okay, you can see that. Okay, and the blue wire, which would normally be the screen, what we call the screen, is attached to that screen on both of these leads. Okay, so you now end up with this connected to this, but only the one channel, which is the M1, and the screen, which is the back. There should be nothing connected to the middle. Okay, right, so that's one. Alright, so this green one is now our left channel, which is that middle wire, that middle contact between the two insulators. Okay, most important. Alright, now I haven't got another white wire, I haven't got another white RCA plug. I've got a yellow one, which is usually used for a video, but that's okay because it will do for what purposes we want. But ideally it can either be white or black, but we just want to end up, they're both going to end up the same with each other anyway, so we'll strip those off. So I'm just going to get a sharp Stanley blade or Stanley knife. Obviously be careful because they're very sharp. If you're not used to using one, be careful. You know, you don't want to strip the inner, just want to strip the outer. Don't throw the outer away because you're going to need it later. As I say, make sure you get every bit of copper from around that signal lead, because if they short out you'll have no sound and you'll be scratching your head thinking there's something wrong somewhere. Okay, so that's one. Okay, I'll do the other one now, be up to the same stage. Alright, be careful, sharp blade. In fact, this one I'm using is a bit blunt actually. Just take your time. There you go. Okay, again, make sure you remove all the copper. See? It's easy to think you've removed it from the outside, but it's only got to get stuck there and you not see it, and then you wind these two together on your next joint and that's it. They're shorted out with each other and you won't have any signal input or output, because it will basically think the signal's being shorted out. Okay, so that's how you want it. Alright, okay, so we then get a small, ideally you want a small pair of cuts to do this. Just take your time, might take a few attempts. There you go, your copper. Squeeze it together, give it a few turns, yeah? Again, making sure that this copper outer braid is not touching. Get your Stanley knife. Strip the outer. Okay, save it till later. Make sure you move every little bit of copper off of there. Rub your finger around it. That way you can make sure it's not trapped. The amount of times I've had mates say, look, I made this joint and now the bloody thing won't work. Right, there we go. Okay. There's your copper. Alright. Okay. Now, you do what you did last time. You join the two signal wires together. Okay. Both those wires are together. You now join the two screens together. Keep coming out of camera view. Right, okay. So you now end up with that. The trouble is I've got the sun shining in on me and it's hard to see the screen. So there you go. Alright. An excuse. Now, because this one is going to be the left channel, or the left deck rather, it actually depends on which way you plug it into your mixer, so either way it won't really matter. You can decide which deck is which. Okay, but obviously you've got to match it up with the slider on your mixer, which I shall show you shortly. So you have this left channel, what would normally be the left channel, joins to the signal wire. So you should now end up with that. Okay. Right, so what we can do now is you need to join, this is where it gets a little bit fiddly, you need to join the grounds, or would be the screens, together as one, not the signal wires, okay? Keep them separate. So you now end up with that. Okay, so you end up with two for one deck and two for the other deck. Okay. Right, okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of solder on these, just to stop them coming undone. Don't need a lot, you need a little bit. You don't want to heat the wires up too much either. So, get that heat up a bit. Now lock. In a moment we're going to be metering it out to find out if I've actually wired it up correctly. Tin the end of the iron. Actually turn this down a bit. There you go. You can see that. Right, we're going to heat the wire a little bit. Just tin it. You want to get massively hot. What you want to do is stop it from unravelling. Clean your tip if it gets too hot. These gas irons do get a bit hot, even though I've got this actually running on low. Okay. Right, okay, job done. Turn that on. Okay, right, then we need to meter it out to find out if we've got this right or not. So what I'm going to do, okay, I hope you can see that, right, okay, and we need to check. So black lead is your common, okay, and you should see, if you go onto the outside of each one of the RCA leads, the needle should go across. Okay. Now, nothing should happen when you go on the signals. You get nothing. Nothing on that one. Nothing on that one. Nothing on that one. Nothing on that one. Okay, right. Now, if I'm correct, if I go on to between the two isolators, I should get a signal when I touch. Yep, and I should get the same on that one. Yep, I should get nothing on these ones and nothing on that one, which is correct. Now on the end one, which would normally be the right channel, I should get a signal. Yep, and the signal on that one. Okay, right, so all the connections are correct. Now what we need to do now is we want to isolate them. But before we go any further, I'm going to get my heat gun heated up, so just bear with me one moment. Okay, right, while the heat gun is heating up, those bits of plastic or the outer casings to be stripped off from the wires, we're going to use them. Don't need to be massively long, just clean the ends off. We're going to use them as insulators. So, if you spin it as you're putting it on, it should go on fairly easy, like that. So it's isolated. Okay, that's one. You'll see what I'm going to do in a moment. So, just cut the bit off. Like that. Do the same with the other one. So they're isolated from each other now. The ground doesn't matter because that's going to be isolated on its own anyway. And what you do is you bring a bit of tubing up. Now remember, you've got to make sure you put this on. Don't make the mistake I made and leave it off, alright? Because if you get to this stage now, you're going to be kicking yourself. So make sure you put that on, alright? Okay. Right, what you need to do, carefully pass the wires into there, into that tubing like that. So you end up with a join in the middle. You don't want that join down by there. Okay, so if any tension's put on this, it'll break your connections, you'll end up with bad connections. Okay, so exactly where that is now. Okay, now this next bit is a little bit fiddly because once the heat gun heats up, we need to squirt as much as we can get down the bottom as possible. Okay, because we want to make this a good seal. Alright, we don't want these touching each other, okay? In fact, make sure it's worth bringing that screen back away from the signals. Alright, so you end up with a nice right in the middle. I don't know if you can actually see through that, I hope you can. Okay, so as soon as my heat gun is ready, we'll squirt some down in there, so bear with me. Right, hopefully now my heat gun should be good enough. Right, now this is where it becomes a bit tricky. So you basically want to get this up and slightly to one side, because we want to get as much as we can down inside there. Okay, so you might, now watch it, because these heat guns are bloody hot, and I don't want anybody coming back saying I've hurt myself because you told me to. Okay, so be careful, you use these at your own risk. But you need to get as much down inside there as possible, and as quickly as possible. Okay, so squirt it inside. Get it down in there. You might have to turn it round. You need to get it down in there. You want to completely pop this . So these are extremely hot, so be very careful. Get as much in as you can. Right, now you can always make it look good after. Okay, so that's basically what you want to end up with. Make sure it doesn't try to come out. Takes a bit of time for it to. Whenever I see somebody using one of these heat guns, they always make it look like it dries in about 10 seconds, but I don't know whether it's the type of glue gun I'm using or the type of glue I'm using. It seems to take forever to dry. You can try blowing on it, if it helps. Right, well, to save you sitting there watching me, I'm going to just pause this. Okay, with the aid of video magic, this is now dry. Okay, this is what you should end up with. One single wire coming out. It's this mini jack. And 4 RCA phono leads. One set for one deck, one set for the other deck. Okay. Now we're going to do another test just to make sure that they're working the way they're meant to. So we'll just unplug the heat gun before I give myself first degree burns. And we'll check it with a meter once again. Hopefully you can see that. Again, the signal wire, the earth wire or screen wire should be this inner part here. Okay, it's important, it's got to work that way around, alright? When you touch the outside of each cable, each of these leads, you should see the meter rise. I can't even see the meter myself. Okay, 1, 2, that's one deck. Next one, yep, that's the other deck. And that's the other deck. So that's all working the way it's meant to. Remember, the central one on the mini jack between the two isolators should be this set. And there. And there should be nothing happening when you put them on there, right? There should be nothing. Okay? Okay. And then when you put it to the end of the mini jack, you should get a signal when you touch that one and touch that one. Again, there should be nothing happening when you put it on the outer casing, and there should be nothing when you touch the signal of the other channel. That's it, it's all working out nicely. Right, okay, now so we now have our special lead. I suspect you can probably buy one that might do this, I don't know, but as I make up my own leads anyway. Now you can either spray that black, or you could get a permanent marker. Just do it black so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. Just bring that around there. Now this lead should give you no trouble at all. You'd have to treat it extremely badly for it to give you any problems. Now, I'm just hoping that because this is not screened like a normal audio lead, we won't get any hum or any sort of feedback from it. When you make this, I would recommend that you try and find a lead which is screened ideally. Because this is over such a short distance, it might not have a problem. Whatever made them make an audio lead without it being screened? Crazy. Right, you can also do the glue as well with a permanent marker, so it all looks very professional. There you go. And you can even do the end. Might take a couple of passes, depending on what the plastic's like. I'm just doing it for aesthetics, make it look nice. There you go. It'll do, won't it? It'll do. Okay. Right. Okay, let that dry off. And I shall now get the mixer. So just bear with me 1 second. Okay, here we have our mixer. I think this is about 150 quid's worth. I don't know, because a friend, a very kind friend, actually gave this mixer to me. He'd only used it a couple of times, but he had no use for it. LEDs. You have your bass control, should be roughly in the middle, mid-range, and your treble. If I'm correct. No, I tell a lie, sorry. That's the gain control. So you have high and low, so bass and treble basically. On this side you have the same, bass and treble, and you have your gain control, same as you do on the software. You have also got on this a microphone input, so you've got mic level, so mic gain if you like. The sun has really picked a wrong moment, hasn't it, to coming right now. So you have your mic level, or gain control, and your main mic level. You have your level meter, so it will either show you the main output signal, or you can use it instead of headphones when you're actually queuing up a deck. These will actually flash as the music starts, so you know what the cue point is. So if you don't need to use the headphones to know exactly what the tune is, you can see when these pip up and down when the start of the track is. So yeah, quite useful function. You have a slider for each channel, so you can set your volumes, same as I showed you on the software. One on this side, and of course your crossfader, which I showed you. And on this side you have tempo difference and time offset, so you can match both the beats up together. So, but I would say if you want to sync them, it would be better to do it on the software rather than on here. You have down here on the front, you have your headphone output for monitoring, and you have your microphone input. And on the back you have your RCA inputs. I'll turn that round. In fact, no, don't be silly there. Main output to amplifier, and also to a tape deck if you wanted to, or a computer, whichever. Input 1, in other words, that would be deck 1 or line in. If you were using turntables, then you would use the phono. It has a pre-phono amp in there, so it's quite nice. So if you're using decks, you could actually you could use decks and you could use the app at the same time. So let's not complicate things at the moment. So you're using line in on this one, and also phono. If you were using decks, you would have to screen them or earth them out on here. But we only need these two. Now as you can see, they're marked left and right. Normally that would give you stereo, but because of the situation, the way the app works, we'll end up with a mono output. But that's fine. As I said, if you're going to use it on a gig, most people wouldn't even know stereo if it hit them in the face. So here's the leads you made up. Okay, so you basically have one set, which would be, let's have a look what we've got here. You've got input 1, input 2. Does it show you in there? Input channel 1, channel 2, right. So I'm assuming channel 1 will be input 1. So we need to put a red one in there. Because it's in mono, it actually doesn't make any difference, but just for the sake of arguments, plug those two in there, like that, and you bring the other one over here, plug that in there, plug that in there. So that's the configuration you end up with, going out to this lead. Okay, right, just a moment. Alright, let me go and get the tablet, and I'll show you what happens when you set the tablet up. Okay, so we're all plugged in as far as the lead into the back of the mixer are concerned, and I have my tablet ready. Now I'm hoping the sun is not going to cause a problem with this. So bring the laptop up and around there. Okay, so what we need to do now is plug this lead in Okay, right, so the lead we've made up, this one, we're going to plug it in to a tablet, like so. Start the app up. So yeah, the tracks that I was using are still on there, so there you go. So right, so you've got your mixer. That is now connected to the tablet. At the moment I haven't got any output, but I shall do. I shall sort that out, but for the moment we can check whether it's working or not, because the indicator lights will indicate whether it's working or not. Okay. First of all though, we need to set the app into the bottom setting. So now each deck is independent, and hopefully each deck will line up with each channel on here. So we'll switch the mixer on. Yes, now on main at the moment, so we'll just put that on there. Right, okay. So let's remember, you've got no slider now on the software. That's now moved. That is now this slider. Okay. So we'll play a deck and see what happens. Well, at the moment we've got no lights. We've got no lights on either side. Okay. So why do we have nothing? We're on lines. Okay. Interesting. I know why. I think I know why. Okay, right, after some further testing, I thought the output levels were very low and it wasn't coming up on the mixer very good. I have now connected a small speaker just so we can get an idea of the sounds coming out, and I've now realised that the output on this Lenovo tablet is very, very low. Extremely low in fact, and the preamp on this does not pull it up really far enough. You have to have everything topped out. You even have to push all the levels up on the gain controls on here to get any sort of signal, and by that time it's distorting. So what I've done, and I found it works fine, is this has preamplifiers for putting in turntables. So I swapped the inputs over to the turntable inputs, and it absolutely works fine now. So I shall now demonstrate how it works. So I shall hit play.
It's like the time, you hear me coming through your speakers. You see me mashing up your airways. I know you can't get enough of my sound.
Okay, as you can hear, that's working perfectly well now. So now I'm going to mix from the left deck to the right deck. Right, now the only thing you might have to do is experiment with the sound levels, because obviously depending on whether your tablet has got a high output or not, it's going to depend on what your levels are going to be. But you really want to try and keep the levels down if you can, or you'll end up with a load of distortion. So yeah, it's going to be a bit experimental at first, but depending on your mixer, depending on what the input power is, or what the input signal is. So otherwise it's working okay. Let's try another track, shall we? So we'll do another track. Okay, right, and this one, right, we've now got headphones plugged in, which means you can now monitor on this deck while this deck is playing out, or vice versa, depending on which way obviously you've got the mixer set up. At the moment I'm playing out this tune, which I shall do right now. Okay, and if we stop it and play the other one, that's the one through the headphones. So you can be playing this one out while this one is monitoring. There you go. So yeah, so it works basically just like a normal disco mixing console. It will obviously depend on the console that you've got, but if you don't have a flash console, which you don't need to, I mean you can pick up one for like 50 quid, which will give you basic monitoring facilities. So it'll do everything you want it to do if you want to do a gig live. Now at the moment I've got the sound, oh sorry, that's running from the headphones, okay? And if I move over to normal, I'm now playing out of there. As you can hear, monitoring that through the headphones. Yep. So that's about it for now. So if you enjoyed this video and it's helped you out, please give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't already joined the channel, please do. And there will be another video coming up where I shall do, well, maybe I will find some decent copyright free music and do a bit of a mix up on this, because it's not really showing what it's really capable of as far as mixing is concerned. So yeah, I'll think about that one. If I can get hold of some decent music, I will. Copyright free music, and I'll do a bit of a mix up on that. But yeah, I hope that's helped you out. As I say, it'll all depend on what mixer you've got yourself. Yeah, on this one, the input signal is quite low, and the output signal on that is very low. But I will give you a demonstration through putting this through my Pioneer amplifier. So a video will be coming up soon, and then you'll hear exactly what it can sound like. Okay, so until next time, goodbye.